expressed in this show belong to the person expressing them. They do not purport to reflect the opinions or views of Rancher or any other entity.
What happened?
All right, it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
That's what you always say on my
show. Not my fault. Not my fault. OBS, the streaming software that I use, does this really annoying thing where sometimes you open it and it's like, I will do an update. You can't cancel it. So it did an update this morning.
Before
yeah, literally, I opened it up and I'm like, oh, great, okay, that's gonna take like 7 minutes to download. And in doing its update, it also decided that it would be a super awesome idea to delete all of my stream settings. So I went, go live, and it was like, no.
Oh, nice, you got a It's Not My Fault gif from Nuno.
That's it, that's nice. It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
No live stream, it's not my fault.
I wasn't picking my nose, was I?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Coffee and Cloud Native, the show that shares news and interesting content related to Kubernetes, Cloud Native, and other nifty technology. My name is Adrian Goins, and this is
LifeBot.
And we are hoo-wee, hot sauce, excited to be here with you today.
We do be that.
I know you wanted me to say that.
That's my favorite.
If you're watching live, consider following or subscribing to the channel. And if you're watching a replay in the future, please also give the video a thumbs up so the YouTube algorithm shares it with other people. You can join the free community site and the Discord server, which I just popped a link up for that. Snap it with your phone, magic happens. Live chat happens in Discord. There's a bot that relays between YouTube and Twitch. So come hang out with us during the show, after the show. Live chat is where the real stuff happens, because Lord knows I don't know how to run a stream.
Join the GIF Warriors.
The GIF Warriors. Let's see, let me find my Discord window and we can say hello. Good morning, Dirk. Who's that creepy person? Oh my gosh. Dirk just posted like probably the most terrifying GIF.
Oh, no, scroll up at GIF Warriors.
Oh, really? All right. Hey, Steve Jaguar, good morning. Smalls, I don't know what that number is. OFS, good morning. Oh my gosh, more Dirk zombies. That's so creepy. Dirk gets the creepy award. Rob, yeah, OBS. Peter Keach, hey. Nuno, not my fault. Who else we got here today? Continuing, Adrian Grimshaw, good morning or good afternoon. Oh, nice, knock, knock. Thank you, Nuno. Okay. So since we have...
Frank is also here.
Frank is here.
With his
Hello,
dog
Frank.
gifs.
Yep, totally. Yeah, so we're back up
OFS.
to the... There's only so far I can scroll.
I know.
Before my scrolling fingers gets tired.
More people joining now. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, so we've got Juca Jovidal saying hello from Madrid on Twitch. Hello, thank you for watching. From Madrid. Bienvenido. Gracias por venir.
Nice.
Yeah.
Practicing your actual
Practicing my
Spanish.
Spanish. Because in Madrid, they actually speak Spanish. In Chile,
They do not.
they speak Spanish, and Chile, Spanish. Anyway, quickly, news. Tomorrow is Friday. I'm so tired today. I apologize in advance. So tomorrow's Friday, and that means it is Shipwreck Sunken Treasure, where Shipwreck normally does a deep dive into a tool of the day, but because he staggered the voting so that we've got more time for people to vote on the content that they want to see, tomorrow he's gonna do an introductory lesson, deep dive, into all of the tools that he'll be using that can allow you to follow along with him. So tools like Fleet, GitOps methodologies, Helm, Rancher? Really? Rancher? I don't know why I wrote Rancher. Maybe
Rancher.
Maybe Rancher. I think he wrote something else there when he was telling me about it anyway, I can't find, RBAC. Instead of RBAC, I wrote Rancher on the teleprompter. RBAC, role-based access control. So he'll be doing an introduction into those things. You can set up your tools with him, and then starting next week, you'll be able to follow along with the stuff that we've got going on.
I asked Adrian if I could do tool of the day, but he said that doing an entire show on a hammer is not allowed, so.
Because what's the Russian solution for fixing problems?
Hammer.
Hammer. We have a really nice hammer somewhere.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know where it is. It's not relevant to the show. Okay, so we should probably get started on the stuff that we have today. Did you have anything else?
What stuff do we have today? Oh, we have a show to run? I wanted to talk about Dirk's article. Not the article that Dirk wrote, but an article that Dirk shared in the community on hidden games and the speed of learning. I thought that was an incredible article.
This article here?
Did you get to read it?
Yes, I did, and it is actually a fantastic article. So in the community site yesterday, Dirk posted an article here, Learning Speed, What Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates Know That Most People Don't. And although it ends with a sales pitch for some free stuff that's not related to the show, what did you like about it? We were talking about this last night.
I like the whole concept about popular games versus hidden games. Popular games being things that have a fast reward, like drinking coffee to stay awake instead of having a healthy sleep cycle.
That's a wonderful game.
Or, go to school, go to college, get good grades, get a job, and you get this fast reward, seemingly fast reward that just plateaus. I really like the graph that shows, that graph right there, that shows how the instant gratification thing climbs up and then plateaus versus the hidden game that you don't really see until it just skyrockets.
Have you heard the concept of second order rewards? Second order consequences?
I don't think so.
So this similar to this. It's this idea that most people, myself included, when we decide what we're going to do, we look at the first order consequence. We do this, we get a response. We do this, or we do this, we get a result. And if we can think about second order consequences, the things that happen later, we can actually make better decisions. And you may be more likely to make a decision that seems painful in the short term, but has a longer term benefit that far outweighs looking for instant gratification and short term first order rewards. Very similar to this. What I liked about this article is that it talked about the value of learning and the speed at which learning matters. There is so much that we have to pay attention to every single day of the week, every single day of week of the year. Clearly, I need to learn about the calendar. There's so much going on, and it's so difficult to keep up with it that normal learning systems don't work. Go to college, spend 9 weeks or 18 weeks taking a class for whatever. Yeah, but if you can compress that, then you'll learn more in a shorter period of time, and you'll be able to do more in your life.
And learn things that you remember and apply it to the rest of your life.
So the article ends with access to this individual's course material. It's a really great article. It's very long. Talks about the speed of doing things, how the faster you can get ahead, the better you are, and the further distance you'll have ahead of your competition. There's business applications to it, but it ends with a link to his class about learning. And here's where I have to apologize, because clearly this is one of those single page things, but this is free for another 3 days. So this is his 5-hour strategy for doing stuff. I signed up for it yesterday because I am always looking for ways to leverage tools to learn more and to learn more faster. This is the kind of stuff that we talk about in the community outside of technology, but it's so important. It fits, how can you do anything with technology if you can't actually learn? Okay, should we get started?
Yes, now we can get started.
Now we can get started. So, the collector bots have gathered stuff for today's show, candidates, and TruffleBot has scored them from 1 to 5 coffees. He'll post them one at a time in Discord. Anyone watching live can rate them. Your votes are used to train the machine learning model that chooses content for the show. So come in, get in there, hang out, and vote. We actually have a smaller number of items today. Usually TruffleBot picks 15 items. We make it through about 10, but there hasn't really been a lot to talk about. So, nope, wrong button. How about that button instead? Yeah, so there hasn't been a lot that the machine learning model has liked, but I discovered last night that I actually have 70 tool of the day candidates sitting in the database. So I think I'm just gonna do a tool of the day purge.
Nice.
Not today, but maybe next week. We're just gonna do shows on tool of the day so that we can try to make
Shipwreck's gonna be thrilled.
freak out.
And boy, won't that be fun.
That is fun. All right, let me get over.
Shipwreck says, yay.
Yay! Let me get over into the live voting channel.
Oh, I see a hammer in there. Yay, my kind of tool.
Oh, let's not do this with cap locks. Okay. Yeah, caps lock, that's not gonna work.
Caps always look like somebody's yelling at you.
TruffleBot?
Hello, Modern.
No TruffleBot. Where'd TruffleBot go? Hello? TruffleBot's not with us. TruffleBot loaded 10 items, but he doesn't want to show them to me. Well, that makes it really hard to do a show. Hold, please. What the heck?
Hey, that's my line.
Are you in debug mode? I wonder if you're in debug mode. No, you're not. You just suck. That's all.
That's a bigger problem.
Can you reset? Okay, let me go figure out what's wrong with TruffleBot. Why would TruffleBot load and then
meantime,
fail?
we will have a puppet show.
We should actually have like CNC and sock puppets.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that hammer time gif, Smalls. Oh, nice, Martin. That's one of my favorite nugs from Fury Road. I debug, I deploy, I debug again. Witness.
Let's see. KCC home. Sorry, this shouldn't be happening.
Today is a wonky technology day, apparently.
I was providing some guidance on good things you can do in your live stream, and one of the things that I suggested was embrace technology failures because they too are real.
Very real indeed. A most excellent sock puppet, OFS. Thank you.
What's wrong with TruffleBot? That should be something awesome, like a database crash or something like that. SQL statement can't reconnect until invalid transaction is rolled back. Really? How about if I just... Okay, no, let's... Oh man, somebody wants a raise. I'm not going to connect to the database until you roll back this invalid transaction in this pod over here that you can't talk to. How about... So one of the things I love about teaching people Kubernetes is rollout, restart, is that I can't type and talk at the same time. I always tell people that deleting stuff is a totally valid troubleshooting step. Oh, it doesn't have a... Okay. So when something's not working and it's, clearly it's like, well, I could probably spend time to figure out what the problem is here, but maybe if I just restart it, it'll work again.
And it does.
Totally valid. So let's see, Stern, TruffleBot.
Oh my God, Peter, a shark suit? Really? I think we need one.
TruffleBot, do.
Oh, no.
Do. TruffleBot, do. TruffleBot should restart.
Come on, TruffleBot.
Quick-esque.
But. TruffleBot.
TruffleBot.
TruffleBot. Yes, we are grown-ups here.
We have a new pod starting. New pod starting in 12, 11. What's going on in the chat?
Lots of gifs of things on fire. and skeletons waiting for something to happen.
Okay, so TruffleBot finally logged into Discord. And that should mean
Hello,
that
Doug.
I can go AB reset, AB load, AB next.
TruffleBot!
First up today is actually a very small and quick and very easy to report on item that is not actually anything I can really show you, but it is still cool. If you feel like giving your email address to Red Hat, they will send you a curl command cheat sheet. Curl is so powerful. Obviously, there's curl and there's wget, and
Obvious.
I use... So I only ever use wget when I need to download a file because I never remember if the output flag for curl is a capital O or a lowercase o, and I always get it wrong because curl just streams to standard out. No snarky remarks?
No, no.
So having a cheat sheet of curl commands is just really helpful. And this one will show you how to do all kinds of things with curl that you may not have even known you can do, like talk to SMB endpoints or POP3 or whatever, and including how to talk to an API. So I thought this was helpful, put it on the show. Obviously, I can't give you the actual thing, but just go give them your fake email address and you too can have a cheat sheet. There was an article on Hacker News last week. This is a little tragic.
Oh.
So the guy who's behind the curl library apparently always gets death threats.
Like actual death threat.
Like actual death threats, because every single hacking tool has the curl library embedded inside of it. So people find their systems that have been compromised and they find the source code or the Trojan or whatever. And because the curl library is open source, it has his email address in it. So these people find his email address in the code that was installed on their system and their WordPress site or whatever, and they think that he's the one who actually did it.
Oh no, it's like the people who send death threats to the weatherman.
Yes. So he regularly gets death threats, and he actually got one last week that properly scared him. So you can go look on Hacker News for more information about that. The internet
Creepy.
is creepy. I used to say that it wasn't that bad. So like it was like the Wild West when it started, and then it was like super boring, and now it's gone.
Mad Max.
It's so be safe out there. I might run the show long. Or I might just run through all of these things really fast.
You can always break something and then fix it.
I did that already.
Oh.
We're out of options. Here's an article from Salesforce about how they do zero downtime node patching in a Kubernetes cluster. And while that sounds like a really cool title, this is not something new and innovative. Mostly. I expect to see a mostly GIF up there. So what they do is it consolidates all of the information that you need to pay attention to when you're doing stuff in Kubernetes. So if you're doing application termination, you can use pre-stop hooks to make sure that your app terminates gracefully. You should have handlers in your app that respond to sigterm and sigint, so that when Kubernetes says, hey, go shut yourself down, it doesn't just go bleh and jump out a window.
Like that.
Like that. How many of you have ever had an app do that? Well, we just saw TruffleBot do it. I will not. And then you roll back that transaction. Roll it back. That's what TruffleBot sounds like. Anyway, so this goes from how to gracefully shut down your applications, and granted it's for Java, that's okay, we forgive them, to pre-stop hooks inside of Kubernetes, and then how to handle EC2 instance termination gracefully. And what they did that makes this cool enough to put on the show is they use Lambda for that within AWS. So they receive a termination notice from the autoscaling group that sets a wait flag that triggers a thing that has Lambda, cordon and drain the node. I guess they just drain it, but they say that they cordon it and then drain it. We'll assume that they're smart enough to just use drain. So anyway, they drain the node and then they wait until all the pods have been moved, and then they actually terminate the instance. So there's nobody going with the power cord and causing the app to go, well, I can't even jump out a window because at that point it just stops existing. The idea being that they can do node patching and updates with, they say zero downtime, but I suspect it's minimal downtime because we all know that zero downtime is a lie. And so they talk about how they do this with the cluster roles that are bound to IAM policies and such. While they don't give any actual code for how to do it, they do say reach out to us. And they have an email address there so that they can get lots of spam.
And death threats.
My downtime was not zero. You are a bad person.
We got 4 coffees on that.
Yeah. You ever gotten a death threat?
I have not. I did read a really interesting article about how you can almost welcome death threats, though, because it actually indicates your level of popularity.
Oh, was that the article by Tim Ferriss?
Yes.
That was an interesting article.
I loved that article. I posted it in my community. I'll dig it up and share it in yours.
It's something like 10% of your fan base
Yes,
is not.
it's a little bit off their rocker, and they start out with just being kind of creepy stalkers, and they graduate to being full-on death threat psychos. But as you get more followers, like if you have 100, maybe you'll have one creepy troll in there that you'll never hear from. If you have 1,000, maybe you'll have 2 people that are actually sending you letters, confessing their eternal love for you, or else.
You had that
But
military
but
guy
if
that
you
was
had-
confessing his love for you.
Yeah. I always get the creepy military dudes. Not actual death threats yet, though.
Okay.
But once you cross like several million or something followers, then you start getting actual
Yeah,
death
Tim
threats.
Ferriss had like people trying to break into his house and like showing up, and it's bizarre. There's a Japanese dude who was able to figure out where some Japanese pop star lived by looking at a photo that was taken and zooming in on the reflection in her eye, and then could figure out where, like, what the building was that she was at, and like went to her house.
Creepy.
All right, so Kubernetes Handbook. This is from last year, but why did I put this in here? Yes, because we do have people in the community who are learning about Kubernetes, and this is a wonderful scenario-based system that's totally free. It's off of freeCodeCamp for learning about everything related to Kubernetes. So if you're just starting your Kubernetes journey, freeCodeCamp is great, LearnK8s is great, and then there are also paid courses, but there are so many free resources out there that are fantastic for you. This is comprehensive and is backed by a repository. But then there was this other article in here. So there's a repo somewhere in here there's a repo. But since we were short on time, let's jump over to.
And battery.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got 21%. You'll be fine.
I started at 36.
Okay. Anyway. So it says Kubernetes is the #3 most loved platform and the #3 most wanted platform. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. What are the other ones? So as far as wanted, apparently people want Docker and AWS more than Kubernetes. That's pretty telling because we all think that Kubernetes is like #1 and it's actually not. Followed by
wanted, not used.
wanted. Yeah, people want Kubernetes. Followed by Linux, then Android, then GCP, Raspberry Pi, and WordPress is down at 2.6% of the people actually want it. Only slightly less than Slack apps and integration. So then I went to loved, and it's like, people love Linux. That's true. People who use Linux and love Linux love their Linux. Followed by Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, Raspberry Pi, Mac OS, Windows shows up somewhere down below. WordPress is at the very bottom of what people love. And then I went to dreaded, WordPress. WordPress is the #1 most dreaded platform, followed by IBM Cloud, Heroku, Slack apps, Arduino, Android, and then so on and so forth. I don't know, they probably interviewed like 100 people, but it's pretty funny. I didn't open that in a new tab. So anyway, Kubernetes Handbook, learning materials, education. I'm gonna continue, so if you have to drop off, we will miss you, but because we started late, I wanna make sure that you because this is gonna go up on YouTube later and people won't understand why it's a 20-minute video.
And all of you watching on YouTube, don't forget.
This is a request for help from the community. We here in CNCN want to give back to the people who spend time and energy to create tools and share them with the world. And Frank, by the way, if you have to leave, tell WifeBot, and because you're the tool of the day today, so I want you to be here for that. Otherwise, stick around. So we want to give back. Shipwreck tries to make everything that he does on Shipwreck Sunken Treasure end in a pull request or an optimization or something where we can give back to the creators. And this actually popped up in the bot feed last night. This is a set of scripts that were created by...
Frank says, I have time.
Okay, good. That were created by praqma so that they could launch Kubernetes clusters on KVM or libvirt and... Yes, Frank is the tool of the day. I think if anybody watching the show is going to be today's tool, it's TruffleBot.
Yeah.
TruffleBot is like, I ain't playing.
Just glitched out. It happens.
So they created some tools to launch Kubernetes clusters with RKE on KVM with some dynamic stuff. KVM is popping up a lot these days. I'm not sure why, but apparently more people are doing stuff directly with KVM, libvirt, QEMU, stuff like that. And I was going to just first put it on the show and be like, hey, this is great. So you can just run this provisioner script, you get 3 nodes, and then you can run install rancher server.sh. But wait, before you go off and do this, notice that it will create a service account for Tiller, which means it's using Helm v2. So I went and looked at the scripts and looked at install rancher, and this was last updated on September 20th of 2019. Now what the script does is it's not complicated. It just needs to have some updates for modern cert-manager with installing the CRDs and updated for Helm v3 and such. Maybe make the host name dynamic so that we're not all running rancher.praqma.com. I opened an issue and asked him to update it, and then I decided I would put it on the show anyway to put it out there to you guys as some low-hanging fruit. If you have a few minutes, if any of you want to go and grab this, make a PR, submit it back to him, because ultimately the tool is helpful if you're in this kind of environment, and anything that gets people from wanting to do something to having the thing available as quickly as possible is a fantastic utility in my opinion. I think we'll do 2 more and then we'll do tool of the day.
We got 4 coffees on that one as well.
Yeah. This one. This one. The Software Planet group received a call from a customer asking for a little bit of help. A little bit of help turned out to be, we had another vendor who created an EKS cluster for us and then went away, and now we can't access that EKS cluster. Can you help? It turned out that it's not just that the other vendor went away, but when the other vendor went away, this particular client deleted all of their accounts. And it was only after deleting all of their IAM accounts that they discovered that when you first create an EKS cluster, the IAM entity that created the cluster is added to Kubernetes RBAC auth table as the administrator with the system master's permission. Initially, only that IAM user can make calls to the Kubernetes API server. So that was never, there were no other admin users added, and then they nuked that IAM account and they were left with an EKS cluster that they couldn't access. What's interesting about this is how they solved it, which is first they discovered that the entire system was created from Terraform, infrastructure as code content. So they were able to see how it was built. That enabled them to determine the name of the account that created the cluster. And then they figured out that all they had to do, this is so preposterous, all they had to do was create a new IAM user with the same name. And suddenly it could access the EKS cluster. That doesn't sound like security to me. Like if the user object is actually a user object and you delete the user object, like if I delete WifeBot, and then I bring somebody else in and I say, your name is WifeBot, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. No. So yeah, interesting, nice, cute little story. If you have an EKS cluster, just know that all anybody has to do to get access to it is create an IAM user with the same name.
It's pretty funny.
Within your organization, obviously, there's like some limits and stuff like that, but come on. Come on. All right.
Oh, everyone is voting against deleting WifeBot.
I have no plans to delete WifeBot. One of a kind. Not releasing the source code. Definitely not an open source project. Proprietary until I die. And nobody will be able to claim access by naming themselves Adrian Goins.
Now that's security.
This next one, I don't actually have a lot to say about it, except it's one of those articles that, can you see the scroll bar? It's one of the ones where I talk about the scroll bar.
You cannot see the scroll bar. Oh, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. See that little scroll bar over there on the right? Oh,
Dear
whatever,
God, how
it's
long is this
it's
article?
up there? Yeah. Now, first of all, this is about Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Azure DevOps ALM. And if you just read this first paragraph, you'll realize that this doesn't really apply to any of us. Oh no. X++ developers have been working without a version control system for most of our careers. What? We had MorphX VCS for AX 2009 and the option to use TFVC in AX 2009 and AX 2012, but it wasn't mandatory. Actually, and always from my experience, most of the projects used no VCS other than comments in the code. I'm not saying all, but in 10 years, I've only seen one AX 2009 project using it. I don't know what any of that means. I know that they're not using source control, and I know that they're laughing about it. If we told this to a non-X++ software developer, he would think we're nuts and probably being foolish by not using a VCS. Who would risk losing their ongoing work due to a stupid mistake? Anyway. The article continues. So one of the major changes we got with finance and operations has been the mandatory use of a version control system. And then this individual has collected several blog posts into a tutorial about how to use Azure DevOps with Microsoft Dynamics 365 finance and operations. I don't know what that is either. But if you do, and if you're interested in using a version control system, what actually follows here is, even if you're not using whatever, Dynamics 365, finance and operations. This article talks about how to set up an Azure DevOps environment, how to set up Azure pipelines, and how to create an environment. You could probably swap out the Dynamics portion of it and swap in other stuff and just use this as a really good introduction into, oh my gosh, how to build stuff out in Azure. Azure Key Vault, automating deployments, more automation, release pipelines, building .NET projects, and so on and so forth.
Only about 2% down that
Yeah, that's just the table of
bar.
contents. It's ridiculous. And you know I love articles with tiny scroll bars.
Tiny scroll bars, man.
Tiny scroll bars, man. One usually wouldn't say that was like an attribute to be proud of. Yo, I got the tiniest scroll bar. But in the case of an article about how to use Azure, it's a pretty cool thing.
Oh, that's 15%. Will I make it?
You will make it, because we are now going to... When I run the stinger, we're not muted. So over the audio, they got to hear you go... Today's tool of the day comes from once again, our very own awesome Frank J, because I still don't know how to say his last name. Frank is on fire.
Wait, have you asked him how to say his last name?
No, because it's in text. And no, I haven't. Frank J.
Okay.
So Frank's been working with Kyverno. Kyverno provides two types of validation, either auditing, where it just reports on problems, or enforcement. And it creates policy reports, which you can access with kubectl. And he says, because I can't find a simple solution to get a general overview of these policy reports and policy report results, I created a tool to send the information from policy reports to Grafana Loki. Right there, awesomeness. Hey, something doesn't exist. I'd like for it to exist. I will make it, and then I will share it with the rest of everybody. He's already shared this with Kyverno, and I know that Raw Code tweeted about it, and Jim made an issue, or I don't know if they're going to incorporate this, but this is amazing. It's how to install it with Helm v3, how to configure the policy priorities, how to set up a monitoring stack, and then the dashboards for actually reporting on the sample stuff. The policy reports themselves, if I just jump over to that really quick, you can see, we'll show you.
Oh, Frank says, awesomely timed article. I just deployed Loki this week. Frank. Oh, sorry, Peter says
Peter
that
said
to
that.
Frank.
To Frank. I'm like
Frank says that about
Frank
the article.
doesn't know. So policy reports, you can see when you get them in kubectl, they'll tell you the status of things per namespace, as well as for any cluster scoped things. You can view the violations when you look at the output of the YAML, but this is all just in text. So now you can at least get an overview of how many violations exist by namespace, by, if I click on this, does it become larger? Sort of does. Woo. So yeah, so failing policies by namespace, failing policies graph, and then what namespace, what kind, and the actual information on what policy rules are failing, and everything in a beautiful dashboard.
Frank says, actual Frank, it also creates Prometheus metrics. Loki is not required for the dashboard.
Okay. I considered, Frank, just so you know, I considered surprising you by calling you and being like, tell us about the tool. But then I decided I wouldn't put you on the spot. So Frank has released this. So right now it talks to Loki, dashboards in Grafana, does Prometheus metrics. He wants to expand it to additional functionality. If this is something you would use, join the project, give him some feedback, submit PRs. I mean, well, don't just submit PRs, open issues. It's his project. Ask him if, tell him what you would like to do, work out a system, build it, submit PRs. That's actually the nice way to do it. I am guilty of like fixing things to run the way I want them to and then submitting PRs back to the upstream project and then being like, we don't actually need this. Thank you.
Whoa, fine, I'm gonna leave, go run it myself.
And that's how you end up with forked projects that you haven't updated in 4 years. Not like I have any of those. Anyway, Anyway, so this is from Frank. This is Policy Reporter for Kyverno. Thank you, Frank. And with that, Adrian will vote. Adrian will end the tool of the day.
5 coffees.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we will, what do we do?
Puppet show.
The time has come. I was going to sing the Muppet Show theme when we started, but instead I fixed TruffleBot.
Oh.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get things started on Coffee and Cloud Native tonight. It doesn't work. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us today. Links to everything I talk about in the show go up in the free community site at community.cncn.io after the show ends. Come join us. Community members get early access to the links, video replay, and other exclusive content. If you have something you would like me to consider for the show, post it in the community site or the show suggestions channel in Discord. Is this the one where I'm British?
It's the word site. You say site in the British accent.
I think I just do it so that I enunciate better.
It's really funny.
Or so I sound smart.
So you sound smart.
Have a great day, everyone. Keep learning. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. We will see you in the next show.
Your line.
Stay caffeinated.